Hi guys, welcome to the price action analysis video of the 14th of July 2022, and this is Nifty on the 5-minute chart, and we will be analyzing Nifty and Bank Nifty today, starting with Nifty. So we will see how Nifty performed first and where all were the important locations today. Now see, today Nifty opened right within the CPR, and first thing that you should notice on such days is that the CPR is very wide. This is a very wide CPR. And usually on wide CPR days, so when there's a wide CPR like this, usually you should be having a bias towards the sideways or range bound kind of market days. So what does range bound mean? That the market should go from or will go from one range to another. So if you see that there is one range here and there is an important range here, then the market will usually tend to travel within those two boundaries, and it will not be able to break this resistance nor neither this support. But that was not the case today. Today was an exception. You saw that Nifty actually opened here and then it went up, then it took a resistance here, then it made a huge fall up to this point and then it bounced again. So today was a day that was an exception. In spite of the fact that it was an expiry, it was an exception, and we could see that there was some in fact a lot of trend in the market, and it is basically news based selling. So it's panic selling in the market, and you can see that Nifty opened here with this doji but a bullish pin bar kind of a candlestick. It's basically not a bullish pin bar classically, because it does have a wick on the top, but it has a very broad wick or a very long wick on the bottom also. So basically it shows that this area is going to be an important support line. So if this is an important support, then you should understand that the bottom CPR is providing good quality support to price. And if this is a support, then when price retraces back to this point, you want to be able to read price action at that level. It's going to be important. Now here you can see that price went up like this. It went up here, and most probably it will take resistance right at the top CPR, and which it kind of showed for a 5-minute time session. But then again it went up, it kind of broke the top CPR and then it reversed. Then whenever such a price action occurs, you should always be watchful of this one particular area. Why is it an important area? Because see, when this candlestick is forming, it opens at this level, right? It opens here, and when it opens here, the sellers push the candlestick downwards. That is why it makes the low here, and once it makes the low here, it actually goes up, it makes a high, and then it closes at this point. So you see, the sellers have been active at least for some part of the 5-minute candlestick time frame. So if for the 5-minute candlestick the sellers are active and then the buyers overcome the sellers, it means that the sellers are active at this point and buyers are active at this point. But then eventually you could see that the sellers were taken out here with this huge green candlestick. Then again the sellers tried to provide resistance, but they were again taken out here. So the buyers were really strong in this particular time frame here. And whenever you see that the buyers are providing this kind of support, or they are buying like this in the initial or the opening of the day, then if you see that the price is coming down and it is taken out the low of that particular candle like this with this kind of a candle, then you would see that the buyers are giving up. Then because of all that buying that happened, whoever had gone long had their SLs in these positions, and then their SLs were triggered here, and that is why, just like yesterday, another crash in price today. It was the same thing that we saw yesterday. Even yesterday we saw the same thing, but that was seen in Bank Nifty. If you see Bank Nifty yesterday, we could see that Bank Nifty even yesterday had opened right around the CPR here, and then when you see such strong bullish patterns, when you see that the low of that particular candle is taken out, then you see a huge fall to the downside. I've made a strategy on that. You can check that in the strategies section. So now let's going back to we'll be going back to Nifty for today's time frame analysis, and we will see how Nifty did today first. So here if you see that after this candle broke it, it kind of went down, and then there was a retest of that level, and at the retest you can see another red candle. So you can see how this particular red candle was formed at the retest, which gives you another confirmation that the price is going to crash further. But generally, if at the retest, if you see a retest, then that means that there is a pullback to the price towards the breakout line. So if this is the breakout line, then you should have that line ready, and you can see how that line was a support here, and once it was broken, it acted as a resistance later. So why does that happen? All those traders who had gone long here, they had kept their SLs below this level, and when their SLs were taken out here in this area, there were a lot of traders who were fearful and who were unwise enough to actually stay in the trade, even in spite of the fact that the candlestick had closed below it. This candlestick had closed below that level. So there were a lot of traders who would have taken their SLs here, but there were a lot of traders who, in spite of the fact that this candle had blown out their SLs, would keep averaging at these levels, thinking that the market would reverse from there, and thinking that the market would reverse because of retail buying is absolutely imprudent. But there are many traders who are inexperienced, who believe that their buying will push the market up, so they keep buying, they keep averaging, and so whenever they see that the market is coming back to the level of their trading point, then all those panic sellers get a good opportunity to square off their positions at near break even. And so whoever had gone long here, once that support was broken here, they all panicked here. But when price actually started to go and touch their entry level here, they started to close their positions. And what are close orders? They are sell orders, because they were buyers before, they have now become sellers, and because of that you can see that there is a big sell position created here, and so the big pin bar here at this point, and that is why the price started to go down. And that is why I always keep saying that support becomes resistance once it is broken in technical analysis, and likewise resistance becomes support once it is broken. So you should always remember that phenomenon. So if you want, you can also deploy this strategy that whenever an important level is broken, so in this case the CPR was the important level which was broken to the downside, price tended to go down, then it tended to reverse, and then it formed another bearish pin bar at the level of the retest of that breakout line. So at the retest of this particular breakout line, then you can short, keep your SL on top here, and then you can take your profit at the next important pivot, right? And this trade would have been good because you could have ignored the previous day low today. Why could you have ignored that? The reason behind it is that we did not see any particular bounce yesterday. Okay, the bounce was just a small bounce towards the end of the day, when actually at 3 p.m. price tended to reach the previous day low, which was here, and from here it made certain small candles, but it was not very convincing. Okay, so this area was never going to create any such big problem, especially when there is such severe selling in the market. And then you could see that historically there was no real demand zone at that point also, so the PDL was never going to be very strong today. So if you want, you can start trading on such kind of a pattern also, but you have to go and backtest. It is most important that you go and backtest such kind of trading patterns also. So whenever you see that there is a green candle and that green candle is low is taken out, and then there is a fall to the downside, but then there is a swing to the upside, then you can see if at the retest of that breakout line there is another bearish pattern. And if there is, and if you see that there is an important resistance like the CPR on top, then you will know that that area or the bottom CPR is now acting as a resistance, which was initially in the morning a support, and so you can go and short this candle here. So I hope that is clear to you. And now looking at this particular price action, do we have important levels to mark for us? What is the important level today? The most important level today is the previous day high. So always keep in mind that whenever the price tends to take a dive, the previous day high will be a very important resistance. Okay, and we already have an important resistance up here. We have that zone important since it is coming from yesterday, and the level here which has been retested, this level we could mark as in a blue line here, because that level has been already retested. So just keep in mind about that level. You just have to ensure that you keep that level in check, and you see whenever you are in a trade, just keep an eye out on that level, because that level might or might not act as an important area anymore, or an important level anymore, because it has already been retested once today. But if price were to open above it, it might still act as an important support, and if it were to open below it, then it still might act as an important resistance. So we will just keep that area ready on the chart. You can see that the bearish pin bar is right here, so you can try and keep that area ready there. So just ensure that you are understanding why that area has been marked. You can actually mark a zone around it also like this, and you can keep that area ready for tomorrow. There is no virgin CPR there. It's just an area where the market has changed in polarity, and we can see that we have a narrow kind of a CPR for tomorrow. Let's check on the 15-minute time frame, and on the 15-minute time frame we do see that there is a bit of short covering in the end, and that is why we see some strong green candles towards the end of the day. But otherwise there is no important demand zone in the 5-minute time frame as such. Okay, so I think this will be all for the important levels, and we don't have any other important levels that we need to be adding for today. So we will just extend the levels coming from the previous price action, and this is the virgin CPR coming from 12th of July, and we do not have any other important levels to add today. So let's go over to Bank Nifty now. In Bank Nifty, you can see that Bank Nifty opened with a doji kind of a candle. So this setup was a little bit different in Bank Nifty today. So why was this here a doji? See, because Bank Nifty had a very big candle length today. This was a very big candle, the opening candle, and at the opening itself it kind of takes resistance right at the bottom CPR, and it takes support at the PDL, the previous day low. So you can see that these two areas are very important areas now right away, because this candle indicates that there is selling from the top and there is support from the bottom. So buyers are active in this area, just like in Nifty. Okay, so but then again this candle is not a very strong candle. So here if you see, then this area was given resistance by the CPR. So even with Bank Nifty, you can see that Bank Nifty had a very strong CPR today. It never really allowed price to break through. In Nifty actually price went right through CPR, but in Bank Nifty it did not, and it took resistance here, and you can see that there are strong green candles here, but then this candle sizes went smaller and smaller, and eventually Bank Nifty tended to reverse from the CPR. And you can see how at this point Bank Nifty was taking resistance at the bottom CPR, then it was taking resistance at the central pivot. Once the central pivot was broken, it started taking resistance at the top CPR. But the candle sizes were showing you that, or are showing you that, the buying force was reducing, and then it kind of tended to crash from there. And then it came to the low of this candle, but this candle's low was not really very important, for the simple fact that the candle was a doji, so it was not a very significant buying candle, so it was not a very significant buyer's candle. So that's why there was no trading opportunity at that point. It actually kept falling beyond the previous day low, and the previous day low was an important support. Why? Because of this yesterday's price action here. That was the only reason why the previous day was important today. Otherwise the previous day low was not a very strong demand zone or anything like that, but due to this particular price action, so as you can see, Bank Nifty had fallen severely since yesterday. Then around this area it took a lot of, or it got a lot of support, and it could not fall any further after this support. So that is why Bank Nifty, when it opened right at that important level today. And so whenever that important level here would have been broken, then there was a shorting opportunity. But Bank Nifty, as I said, opened with a weak candle. So in such circumstances, it doesn't really show us a very important sign there. So whenever you see a strong bullish candle here, then that strategy will be applicable, where you see a strong bullish signal, or you get a strong bullish signal like this, a candle something like this, or even if you have a small wick on the bottom, then that's a very strong bullish candle. Then you can always go ahead and short that candle whenever you see a pin bar there. But that was never a good opportunity today. So depending on that sort of price action, we will see what important levels are to be marked today. See here Bank Nifty took resistance right at the CPR, right, and it kind of fell further. So How many points was that fall? Let's just measure that from the day high today to this low. It was 470 points. So that is a significant fall today. So we will be marking the previous day low as a, or the previous day high as a supply zone. We will be marking it in red here. And we will see on the 15-minute time frame, on a higher time frame, what else do we have here? So we could mark a zone here, okay? If you're comfortable with that, a zone is better to be marked because it is basically a supply zone here. So you could say that this entire area might act as an important supply zone. So just keep that zone ready, and then you can see that the R1 pivot is right where this particular red candles have, these particular red candles have been formed. So we will not mark another level at this point, but this entire zone will be important right from R1 to PDH. And we do not have any other important level to mark. Like in Nifty, we don't have any change in polarity per se today, because the first candle in the 5-minute sessions or on the 5-minute time frame was a doji kind of a candle. It wasn't a strong bullish candle which was providing good support there, but nonetheless you could also see how that particular area, or the PDL, once it was broken here, has provided resistance multiple times. So that phenomenon has been seen even today, that once this support is broken, you can see that this was broken here, and then once it was broken, price provided resistance to it, or that level provided resistance to price at that level. So the change in polarity is visible in Bank Nifty also today. We do not have any version CPR in Bank Nifty. The version CPR that we have is coming from the 7th of July. We will be extending that. And since today is already the 15th of July, so it's been 8 days since that version CPR. So its importance will keep diminishing. But nonetheless, it's a broad version CPR or a wide version CPR. So we will keep that version CPR as it is. Alright guys, so I think this will be all for the analysis of price action as it went in Nifty and Bank Nifty today. If these videos are helpful to you, please let me know in the comment section. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you're notified each time I post a new video. Thank you guys for your time. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.